In 1991, Hartlepool United was the only football league club to donate cash to a Romanian charity appeal by Newcastle policemen. Today the club is playing Motherwell in the first friendly of a new season. Fans come laden with soaps and shampoos. Their team is about to make a bit of history. Hartlepool United is to play its first ever game on foreign soil, its young players about to witness the horrors of Romania.
The wife keeps saying you're not really going to enjoy it. I think it'll be very sad going on the orphanage and seeing people we don't know how lucky we really are.
I feel really sorry for the kids, you know, when you look at the kids in this country, how well they're treated, and it's going to be very sad. I'm not looking forward to it at all.
Romania, full of poverty, you know, all the kids, everybody really feels sorry for them, you know, and just hope they can get out of it.
I think it's good that we are going into the orphanages and see how bad it really is, and then really appreciate how lucky we are.
The team's destination is Brasov, the capital of Transylvania, a city devastated by Ceausescu's communism. Generous Hartlepool have been invited to be the opposition in the first ever charity match in Romania. The players are subdued as they fly out, not sure what to expect. But Newcastle policeman Bob Shields knows exactly what he will find. He's going back to Brasov to see little Doina and to renew a personal crusade. Bob has vowed that one day the institution in which Doina lives will be fit for humans. The first shock for United is a pleasant one, the beauty of the Transylvanian Alps, but in Romania, poverty is never far away. It provides an opportunity for fresh air before the team head down the hill and their appointment with the reality of Romania, the city's hospital for infectious diseases.
Nu, scarlatina, domnul doctor. Fever. Nu, fever. And
We'd heard contrasting tales. We'd heard about where the players were staying, which was in a ski resort geared up for tourists, which was quite good. And here we are at this infectious diseases hospital, and it's quite appalling, really. I mean, it's downright primitive. I think it opens people's eyes, and we tend to be a bit blasé about our own standard of living and take things for granted. And I think a trip over here actually puts it in perspective a wee bit.
I just didn't think that places like this existed, and they do, which is shocking.
The kiddies look, well, they look happy in themselves, really, but as you can see, their conditions are really rough.
This boy is suffering from meningitis. Alone in a stark room without curtains or bedding, his situation sums up the life in a hospital desperately short of the basic drugs and toiletries we take for granted in our homes. Hartlepool were surprised when told they should take out soap and shampoo. The indignities of the isolation hospital makes them realise why. The supplies provided by their fans are gratefully received. Too much has been donated for the players to carry. The rest will follow in an aid convoy. The second hospital of the visit is far less harrowing, but the case histories of some of the children in the paediatric hospital testify to Romania's immediate past. Players are reluctant to enter the wards, but manager Alan Murray leads the way.
This was complex cases, medical and social, right? Because medical was very sick.
She came in a very, very bad condition. She was not fed, I think, at home, but in, I think, 2 months she put 5 kilos here in the hospital. She wasn't talking anything, but now she started to talk now, and she's progressing very, very. No, uite. Julie, open, Alice. Hi. No. Hi. She's very afraid. I was a little bit outside with her, and she's afraid by the cars and everything around her. Yes. But she's progressing very. She's progressing very quickly, and she can. No e nimica. And she can become a normal child. Yes. It's only a regression.
Go on.
Le-am spus la fete să se ducă, care am întâlnirea cu domnul doctor Budinski și le-am zis să se ducă. Gata, vezi? Nu e nimic. Julie, uite. Gata, uite și aici. Uite. Nu e nimic, nu mai e. Vezi că nu e nimic. Nu mai e. Gata. Da. Let's go in the playroom. She will be more relaxed.
The paediatric hospital is one of those to benefit from aid from Britain and Belgium. It's bright and cheerful, but children are still left on their own for long periods, and medicine is in desperately short supply. So are football boots, but this frail 12-year-old who says he's a defender is lucky.
This was intoxication, food intoxication, because in some markets there are some producers who don't offer fresh meal, or I don't know. But now it's good.
Now, children, you always look around when you're Bye.
I think that hospital was a little bit more pleasant than the first one went out. It's still pretty harrowing, really. Sad to see all the kids the way they are, you know, but it's good to see all the volunteers, you know, the help that they're getting. They are getting some help anyway.
Supposedly there's one even worse that we didn't even visit, really. It's supposed to be, it's a shame for the kids, really, when you see the conditions you have to be treated under. Like you say, the people are working ever so hard here to try and help them out in the best way they can.
This building looks totally out of place in Romania until you learn it was built as a weekend retreat for Ceausescu's henchmen. Now it's a restaurant, an example of the Romanians' desire to show Hartlepool Football Club their best. It's embarrassing for some so soon after the rigours of the isolation hospital. But the players retain their dignity by sticking to the baked beans on toast they brought for their pre-match meal. The rest of the party are jealous. Until recently, the way to this house and trout farm was barred to the locals. Most can't afford to eat here, but at least they can now visit. All too soon, it's back to reality. The glorious scenery of Transylvania belies the abject poverty of Brasov, where even light bulb and bath plugs are in short supply. The players have mixed feelings as they head back for their pre-match nap. Some are relieved they're being spared the real horrors. Others feel they ought to have been allowed to see them. Bob Shields has no such dilemma. He spent the day at the worst institutions discovered by Newcastle police 2 years ago when their aid convoy arrived in Brasov. One, known as New Timish, has been improved by the Swiss Red Cross. It's now habitable, but far below the standards acceptable in Britain. And the beat Bobby from Biker is relieved to find that Doina is safe and well in the relative comfort of New Timish.
Hey, baby. Who's come to see you then? Who's come to see you? Huh? Hey, oh, yeah, well, this is looking good.
Bob travels to Brasov as often as he can. His eternal fear is that Doina and her orphan friends will be transferred from here down the hill to Old Timish. Once the age of 18 is reached, orphans are moved there together with mentally and physically handicapped people. It's a genuine living hell. Old Timish is run by the Department of Transport. The medical profession says it can't do anything for these people, so they're not its problem. In other words, nobody cares. Well, hardly anybody.
It's the boiler for the washing. It's the only form of sort of hot water they've got to try and get stuff boiled and cleaned, and then they've just got to rinse it out in the old bathtub. And obviously the old packing cases and wood are the only form of fuel they've got to get the stuff done.
While the team rests, Chairman Gary Gibson and Director David Jukes arrive to show support.
This is Leonardo, who I've known for the last 2 years, and he's just been brought back down here from New Timish. And this is sort of Leonardo's home for, well, he's 17 years old now. This is Leonardo's whole world for about the next 30 years, if he's unlucky. Give us a smile. Smile. Yeah. Who's that on there? Who's that? Who's that? It's Corinne. There's Corinne, yeah. Look, yeah, it's Corinne. Look. There's Corinne, everybody. Yeah, great, yes. No? Okay. Leonardo's laughing at you, look. Stop laughing.
Old Timish is run by the aptly named Dr. Christian. He works with pitiful resources, but won't give in.
Here's the toilet and the bathroom, practically as they are now. In the other building, fortunately, some English people repaired the bathrooms. Here, for the moment, we don't have the facilities. We couldn't find exactly what we need. So, here is the place. Here, usually you have adults and old age with different problems. Some of them can move a little, some of them can't move at all. Not a problem for us because of these poor conditions of the toilets and bathrooms. And the biggest problem here are all these stairs, which is so staircases all around.
A battered but prized possession for a resident who has to while away the long hours in cramped and appallingly smelly conditions. The narrow, winding staircase traps first-floor residents in rooms stifling hot in summer and bitterly cold when the winter temperature drops to 30 below. Crippled legs have cast this young woman in a nightmare.
Why is she in what we would call an old person's home?
Not an old home, it's an adult, over the age of 18, that's the problem.
But can we, if we turn behind you, she's sharing a room with this lady?
Yes, and she's complaining about that, but unfortunately we don't have the possibility of making a separation for everyone to choose his own room, unfortunately.
Devastated. Can't believe that people live in such squalor. I'm certainly taken aback. We don't treat animals like that back home.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
Yeah, I mean, the sun's shining. That's about the only thing that is nice and positive that we're seeing here this afternoon. It's horrendous.
You were expecting to see some awful sights, not glorifying in it, but I mean, we knew it was going to be rough.
Yeah, and it is rough.
Yeah. I saw your face as you went in one of those rooms.
Yeah,
I think that was
well, you've got the smell as well. The sight. You know, obviously, we're not used to it, and Bob's more used to the sights that he sees. And it's a big shock. It's exactly what you thought you would find. It's horrible.
Far from horrible is the site earmarked for the new hospital complex, but it's doubtful whether the inmates of Old Timish will ever benefit. It's a bold plan and one which is carefully explained to Hartlepool's players.
And we have the possibility in this land to organize a very modern medical system.
Battered by their experiences, the players arrive for Romania's first ever charity match. However, their public relations are good, and they're not without support. The trainee nurses from Stockton and Billingham Technical College would never dream of watching a football match back home. After 3 weeks helping out in Brashov's General Hospital, they welcome the change. They join a 4,000-strong crowd, drawn by the first ever visit of an English team to the unglamorously named Tractor Stadium. Hartlepool's players are apprehensive. They're still weary from a long and hot journey and the distractions of the morning's sightseeing. What's more, they've only been back in training for 1 week and arrive at the Tractor Stadium to discover that 3 days earlier their hosts had beaten the full Egyptian national team 1-0. Last season, FC Brasov had narrowly failed to qualify for a European place. In a country of few other attractions, football is a passion. But the main point of the exercise is not the sporting contest. Romanians have little concept of fundraising because the state was always supposed to provide everything. Today they pay 20 pence each for the privilege of watching an English team. That money will go towards the new hospital. The entrance fee is not small when you consider an average wage of £2 a week. Total gate money is just £600, and Hartlepool themselves raised £400 with a collection among fans at the Motherwell match. Money now pledged to Old Timish by the chairman. It all adds to Hartlepool's popularity even on the terraces. Local children, who are admitted free, are only too eager to be taught English football songs and lend their support to the visitors, no doubt helped by the number of badges and footballs given out by Hartlepool. The club is also paying all its own travel costs, but it doesn't help them get sympathy on the pitch. Lenny John Rose gets a consolation goal and finds some unexpected support. But the Romanians are fitter, sharper and altogether more classy, sweeping forward at every opportunity and punishing any mistakes. Hartlepool make a game of it, but their lack of match practice shows. And Brasov round off the match by scoring their 5th against Hartlepool's 1. Manager Alan Murray is not amused, accusing his players of being far too charitable. But even the only 2 fans to follow the team all the way from Hartlepool have more concerns than the scoreline.
Nu, ăsta vrem să, dacă ne puteți da nouă.
No, we need for England, the Anglia game, okay? Yeah.
Și ăsta nu vindeți.
That's Hartlepool, yeah.
The aftermatch reception is one of Brashov's social events of the year. Most of the dishes are based on salami and typify Romania. Scratch any surface and underneath you'll find all is far from well. It's the end of a long and harrowing day. Hartlepool have done their bit. The mayor of Brasov is warm in his tributes.
It is a high pleasure because I met a lot of English people during the last 2 years here. Yes. But it is for the first time we have the opportunity to have a football team. I wish to tell you that these British people which were here before you did a very, very good job.
And there are no regrets from the Hartlepool chairman.
The football was secondary, and I suspected in the back of my mind that we might get a good hide, and that's exactly what we did get. But that's irrelevant, really. The point of the exercise was to alert the North East once again to the problems out here, and to try and do a little bit to try and alleviate those problems.
What effect do you think it's had on the players?
I think the players have enjoyed the experience. Maybe enjoyed might not be the right word. They've certainly benefited from the experience. They've seen, the players haven't seen much of life to a certain extent. I mean, they're very pampered. It's an unreal world compared to the average guy in the street. And I think it's done them the world of good to have their eyes opened. I mean, they're all young fathers. I think that's why they took the kids in the hospital this morning, because they've all got little toddlers, and they relate to them well. And we think it's done them the world of good. The trip here, even the game, despite the fact they couldn't catch them, even the game's done them the world of good.
When you wake up in a couple of days' time, what will be your one memory, the big memory of your trip to Romania?
Well, I think we'll have forgotten about the game and forgotten about the result, because that was Liverpool wouldn't have beat these lads. They might Hartlepool. I think it's the friendliness of the people, but I think more particularly it's the place we went to this afternoon, the worst of the three places we went to this afternoon. The desperation there, not neglect, because they can't do any more than what they're doing. The fact that the people are resigned to what's really an awful life, which they certainly wouldn't have in England. We've probably got people in England who are in as bad a condition, whether it's mentally or physically, but certainly the surroundings are a lot better than what we saw today.
I'll probably go back and tell my friends what it's like here. You know, it's not very pleasant, and hopefully they can maybe donate something to actually help over here, and I'm sure they will.
Yeah, we've seen the poverty, we've seen other sides of it, and whatever. The people are so friendly over here. It's great.
Different, certainly different. Didn't really know what to expect, really. As you know, we went around a couple of hospitals today, and that was pretty sad, like. But all in all, it's not the best place. Won't want to come here for an holiday, like, but makes you appreciate what you've got.
The visit around the hospitals was a little bit harrowing this morning. Got a good tucking in the game today, but I think everybody's, you know, pleased with what we've achieved. You know what I mean? Everybody's think they've done a little bit, you know, to try and help them a little bit. And I think that's the most important thing, really.
I don't think we've been to the worst places, you know. Been on the hospitals today, and the first hospital we went to was dirty and not very nice at all. But it's nice to see that some of the work is getting through with the kids. We've been to the paediatric hospital this afternoon, and at least it was nearly clean or whatever, you know. So obviously some of the aid is getting through.
I think I would have liked to see the orphanages, just to see how bad they really are, because you only listen to hearsay. The woman who's organised the trip said that it might have left us a bit brain scarred if we'd have seen one or two of the sites this morning. I think the fact that we came over, give out the medical gear and showed our faces, and I hope opened the door for, you know, other English teams to come out here and see what it is like, and try and help this country, because the country looks as though it's on its knees.